Good morning. It is day one of the Borrowathon, and I thought I would vlog it. So if you don't know what the Borrowathon, I feel like I'm not speaking clearly. It's because it's Sunday morning. But the Borrowathon is a readathon where you read books that are borrowed, and I have a lot of books borrowed from both the library and from my brother. Uh, Anywhere else? I think those are the main places. So I'm going to read those. I did tell my brother I would start with Death Note, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to start with Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too. Mainly because yesterday I finally finished The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which is a 1,000-page chunker, and it took me, it's the 20th, 19th? The 19th of May today, and it's taken me pretty much all month to read that, which has been difficult. So I really want like a palette cleanser. And this one I can't show you at the same time as holding the camera, but it just has like cute pictures, and I think it should be super quick to read and like much more light-hearted than The Way of Kings. So I'm going to read this. I do also need to be somewhat productive today, which I'm not really in the mood for. I kind of want to just spend Sunday reading, but life. So I am going to try and do the thing where you read a chapter and then you do something productive, and then you read a chapter and you do something productive, and an attempt to like both get lots of reading done and get lots of life stuff done. This I'm hoping has no chapters and I can just sit here and read the whole book, which is kind of cheating, but that's what I'm going to do. So welcome to my Readathon blog. I guess I will check in with you guys a bit later. Okay, so I have finished reading this. It honestly only took me about half an hour to read it, and it was lovely. I kind of teared up in some bits. It just so, I don't know, honest and true to what some feelings feel like, but also like really funny. It made me laugh. I think if you haven't read this yet, you should read it. It's such a quick read, but it's beautiful. Even though the art is really basic, but just lovely, lovely, lovely. Anyway, I guess I'm going to go and try and be productive and then maybe start on Death Note. Oh, also, I realized there are challenges for the Borrowathon. Of course there are. And I have not planned around the challenges at all because of course I haven't. But I think I can count this for a book that is not in a standard format or whatever the challenge is, something like that. Because this is just like every page has some pictures and some words. It's not really traditional book at all. Because it's not even really in like comic book form. Anyway, productivity. Let's do it. Okay, so it is now the afternoon. I haven't been that productive, but I have been productive at reading. I've finished reading Death Note. I'm really enjoying it. This is a story about this guy called Light who finds this Death Note, which is a notebook where when you write someone's name in it, they die. This Death Note actually belongs to this demon guy who I really like. The demon guy. He's kind of, at first I thought he was ugly, but now I think he's adorable and cute. Is that how you're supposed to feel about a death demon? Probably not. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm really looking forward to continuing the series and finding out more about what Light is doing, because he seems to have a really interesting strategy for how to use the Death Note. But I only borrowed the first book from my brother, so it will have to wait a while before I continue, and I will have to read some other things. I am now actually going to head off to the library and maybe do some shopping while I'm there, because I've got a bunch of library books waiting for me to pick them up, and if I don't pick them up today, then they take them away from me. But I was waiting until the very last day because I don't know when I'm going to have time to read them. So if I wait till the last minute, I get the most amount of time to read them, if you get what I mean. Anyway, while I am walking to the library, I have got Rebecca on audiobook, so I'm going to be listening to that. I have already listened to about 28% before this readathon started, so it doesn't entirely count for the readathon, but I am really enjoying Rebecca. We're kind of following this woman as she gets involved with this guy and goes to stay in this fancy house, and it's just told in this very I don't know, mysterious way where you know something bad's going to happen and we're working up to it, but when is it going to happen? What things are actually clues about what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. But anyway, I'll continue listening to that while I'm at the library, and when I get back, I will check in with you again. Glasses are really annoying with all the glare, eh? We'll take them off and we just won't be able to see, and that will be fine for this. So, I just went to the library and it rained on me on the way back, which was not ideal, but I got a bunch of books. I've got them here. So firstly, I got the second and third volumes of I Hate Fairyland, which I'm excited to read. I read the first volume last month. I have heard that the third volume isn't as good, but I do love the cover. I love the cover of both of these actually. So I'm excited to read those. Not sure, I kind of want to read them straight away, but I might put them aside because they're not due back at the library until next month, and so they're not really a priority when we compare them to the other books on my TBR, which is the same is true for these other books, which is a bit sad. Firstly, I've got this workbook. So this is When the Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing by Daniel H. Pink. Daniel H. Pink wrote this book called Drive about motivation and autonomy and mastery and purpose and how important those are to people. It's a really popular book if you're in my field of work. So this is his new book and I'm kind of interested to read it, and maybe I'll figure out how to have perfect timing, which I obviously don't have yet. And then the last one I got is The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley. So I really like the Beldame Apocrypha trilogy with Nyx Nyssa, who is this badass girl in this like world of like creepy bug technology and all sorts of political conspiracies. This one, all I know about it is it has some kind of time travel. I've seen people saying really great things about it, although most of the things I've seen have been retweeted by Cameron Hurley herself, so she is kind of curating my opinion of this book or my expectations of this book. But I am excited to read it because I love time travel books, and it doesn't actually look like it will be that dense because this text is kind of big and it's not that long. So I'll be picking up this one at some point again. I really want to just pick it up now, but currently not a priority. Life is hard sometimes. Anyway, I think today, for the rest of today, I'm going to keep doing the one book, one chapter. Oh, talking is hard. The one chapter and then one productive thing. So I'm going to try and finish off both of these manga that I borrowed from my brother, so then I'll have finished everything I borrowed from him. So I'm going to read One Punch Man and My Love Story, and we'll see what I think about them. Otherwise, I guess I will check in with you later. So it is now the end of the day. I just went for a run. I did a few other productive things this afternoon, but not as much as I wanted. But I did manage to read a couple more manga. They're just so quick to get through. Firstly, I read My Love Story, which I wasn't really expecting to like because I don't really normally like romances. But this one was just so pure and funny, like had me cracking up laughing. One point I just had to stop and laugh because it reminded me so much of someone I know. It just, such a cute love story. We basically follow this guy, and all the girls he's ever had a crush on have always fallen in love with this guy who's just been like, nah, not interested. And then this girl comes along, looks like it's going to be the same thing. And that's what happens, but it's lovely. My brother has more in this series, so I will be borrowing that, although I'll probably borrow the rest of Death Note first because I'm still really eager to find out what happens next in that. I also borrowed from my brother One Punch Man, and I will say I didn't like this one as much. I felt like it was just a lot of fighting and then occasional jokes, and my brother tells me it gets more serious as we go, so maybe I'll continue it at some point, but at the moment it's probably my least favorite of the three, but still, I read that. So, in total, I have read 4 books already for the Borrowathon, and they also all count for the Asian Readathon, so that's pretty good multitasking. Tonight I am going to read first one story from 1,000 Beginnings and Endings. So this is the group book for the Asian Readathon. It's also qualifies for Borrowathon because it's from the library. And also I have 7 more stories to go because it's an anthology. So I can read one every night of the Readathon, which is kind of perfect. I think that I will probably have more time for reading tonight than that. And the other thing I'm going to read is actually not qualifying for Borrowathon. So does it belong on my Borrowathon vlog? No, not really. And it's not for Asian Readathon either. But the thing is that every month I try to read the shortest book, the longest book, the lowest rated book, and the highest rated books on my physical TBR. And so far I haven't read any of those, and 2 of them are really thick. And if I leave all 4 of those books for the last week of May, I am going to hate myself. So I'm going to try and sneak some of them into this week's reading, as well as the stuff for the Borrowathon and the Asian Readathon. Only one of those books counts for the Asian Readathon, and none of them, of course, are borrowed because they're all off my physical TBR. But anyway, last night I did start reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I was quite enjoying it. It's a little bit funny, and also I think it'll be really quick to get through. So I'm going to try and finish this tonight, maybe. We will see. Probably I won't check in again because I will be asleep. But I will see you guys for the second day of the Readathon tomorrow. So it is mid-morning on Tuesday. And so far I feel kind of like a halfway girl because I read another story of this, 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, edited by Ellen O and Elise Chapman. I talked about it last night, I think. I read another chapter, so I'm about halfway through that. I'll keep reading one of those every night. Then also, I am about halfway through Rebecca, which I'm listening to on audiobook. I'm going out a bit later today, so I'll try and finish it this afternoon, even though I think it's quite a long one, so that's a lot to read. But I think it's going to return itself back to the library tomorrow. I probably should check if I can renew it, but I think I can't. So I'm halfway through that, and I'm also about halfway through Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which doesn't fit with Borrowathon or the Asian Readathon, but I can count it for Bookemon, so I haven't mentioned Bookemon in this vlog, but I am also trying to do Bookemon. The main Bookemon, which was about reading a certain number of pages, is done, but you can still earn badges for the rest of the month. So this was going to be my sci-fi book for whatever the sci-fi badge is. So I do want to read this, and I'm about halfway through. I didn't get that much read last night, but I woke up at 4 a.m. And read a bit more then before going back to sleep, as you do. So right now I'm about to film some booktube, as you do, and then I guess I'll try to be productive this afternoon before I have to go into town. So I will catch up with you a bit later. Good morning. It is day 3 of the Readathon, also known as Tuesday. I forgot to check in with you again yesterday, but I did manage to get some other stuff done, so that's good. Also, my eyes gone funny again because I wore contacts yesterday, so I guess I'm going to be wearing my glasses for a while. And I cut like 3 inches off my hair because it was pissing me off, but it's kind of cute, so that's okay. Reading-wise, last night I did read another story from this one. I didn't actually like it that much. I forget which one it was. It was called... hang on, Sphere Carrier, and it just seemed a little bit pointless. I didn't really get much from it, but that's what anthologies are like. Some stories you like, some you don't. I also did manage to finish Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think it's probably just a 3-star. There were some bits I found quite funny, and the overall story is very nostalgic for me. But it really just made me want to watch the TV series. I do think sometimes it tries a little bit too hard to be funny, and it goes on and on about some jokes a little bit too much. And it is very British humour, so I'm sure that a lot of people will read this and not get it at all. But New Zealanders grew up on a lot of, or for me at least, I grew up on a lot of British TV because that's, for a long time when I was young, the only thing we could really get. So today's reading plans, actually I have to just spend most of the day being productive and doing some study and some writing and some stuff.
and maybe mowing my lawns. Oh, my least favorite thing. No, actually the other thing I should do is vacuum, which is actually my least favorite thing. So lots of that kind of stuff to do today. But I'm gonna start The Girl in the Tower. Technically, I don't need to read this book. It was on my TBR, but I managed to renew it at the library, so I've got more time. But overall, I think it's the best one to read. It is for the historical fiction badge. I forget the name of all the badges. The archival badge in the Bookemon Badgeathon Readathon. So it will give me that, and it is also a library book, so it fits Borrowathon. I think the reason I picked up that one is all the other books on my TBR, and I'm saying over here because this is my TBR shelf for the month. The rest of them are all books I own, so I'll read that one. I also, when I'm doing some study today, I want to read The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. This is a book that Katie Tastic recommended, and I started reading it, and it's actually amazing. So if you're into writing, I definitely recommend this already. And so I'm going to try and read some more of that as well, also from the library. Libraries are honestly the best thing. So we'll see how much we can get through in that today, and I'll probably check in again at the end of the day. Right now, I'm going to go for a run, so I will see you later. So I realized that I forgot to mention Rebecca when I kind of gave an overview of the books in progress this morning. So Rebecca, I forget how far through I managed to get yesterday. I think quite far. I had about 4 hours remaining this morning, I think, and it was due back at 1:16 p.m. It is now 11:55 and I just finished Rebecca. So I've been cutting it close with a lot of my audiobooks lately. I've got to try and fix that and get ahead. But I finished Rebecca. There was a section in the middle where I was really loving it. I thought it was so atmospheric. I couldn't wait to find out what was happening. There were all these clues. It was amazing. But the end, I felt like just kind of dragged on a little bit too much. And the ending, I was like, what was that? It was a very unsatisfying ending, in my opinion. I think if it had finished like about 2 hours before that, it would have been a really good ending. But never mind. I don't really have anything else to say other than like I've finished Rebecca, so that is good. Oh, also I was gonna mention the challenges, but do I even have the list of challenges here? No. Let me just I might edit this because you guys don't want to listen to me going blah blah blah. Okay, so I found the challenges. I think that I'm going to count Rebecca for read a book that features a library, because they did have a library and it was mentioned, the library in their fancy house. So that counts for that. None of the books that I have here that I haven't put against any categories are set during a favorite time of year, so they don't count for that. I already read a book with a non-traditional format. Read a book completely outside of your house. I think I've got some really short audiobooks, so I might just listen to one of those while I'm out on a run, and that will cover that. A book you're in the mood for. I would say that when I read Death Note, I was totally in the mood for Death Note, so I can count that one as done. And then a book featuring one of your bucket list items. I mean, I could say that falling in love is a bucket list item, but I've kind of already done that. And once stuff's done, it's not on your bucket list anymore, right? So, not that one, I guess. I don't really think, I mean, punching people, that's not on my bucket list. So I think I've got 3 of the challenges covered, and I guess we will keep trying for the other 3. So let's do that. Okay, so it's Wednesday afternoon. I was productive this morning, did some stuff I needed to do, but then I found out that they made Sims 4 free to download, and oops, I downloaded it and I lost the rest of my afternoon. So that's annoying. Reading what? Well, I say that's annoying, but I made my house in Sims. Actually, you're going to hear the Sims noise in the background now because I was just opening it again. I have no self-control. Anyway, reading-wise, I did read last night another chapter from this. I don't know why I don't think to look beforehand what it was called. It was the one about the dragons. So I read Code of Honor
by Melissa De La Cruz, and it was so obvious and nothing happened, and I didn't enjoy it at all, so that was a shame. I'm up to about page 75 in The Girl in the Tower. I have to say it was page 50 before our main character, Vassia, or who I consider to be the main character, Vassia, she didn't join the story until page 50, and I was getting very annoyed because I don't care about any of the other older characters, all her brothers and sisters. I don't really care. I just want the magic. So, yes, today, not so productive. I don't really know what I'm going to do with the rest of the day because I had a bunch of things on my to-do list and there's no way that I can get through all those things now. So I guess I have to prioritize and try to get my life back on track. I will try to read some more of The Girl in the Tower. I have also been listening to a couple of audiobooks, The Power of Beauty by Richard O. Prum and 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. So far, I'm not that impressed with either of them. They started out with very long chapters talking all about themselves, and that's not what I'm there for. So we'll see how those go. Otherwise, I guess once I got my life back together, I'll check in again. Okay, so yesterday I did not get my life back on track. Instead, I just played Sims until bedtime. In fact, past bedtime, and went to bed late. So, I've made a rule, no more Sims until the weekend, or at least until I have finished everything on my to-do list, because Penny, like, I had fun playing The Sims, but there's a lot of other things I want to do, and the outcomes are important to me, so I'm gonna do those things. I'm just about to go for a run, but I thought I'd give you guys a quick update before I get into my productive day. So last night I did, the only thing I managed to read yesterday was Bullet Butterfly by Elise Chapman, in this book that I keep talking about. I don't need to tell you about it. I actually really liked this one. I thought it was a really good twist on the whole woman dresses up as a man. This one, a man dresses up as a woman, which is a cool twist on things. So I liked that one. I didn't read any of The Girl in the Tower yesterday, but I think I've decided that I just need to like let some of my reading goals go and just be a bit more relaxed with my reading. So if I don't finish it, I don't finish it. That's life. While I'm on my run, I am going to keep listening to 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. Now, I actually have 11 hours left before this returns itself, and there's a hold list, so I can't renew it. And I'm so far 4% through, but it is a really short audiobook. Like, I think I've only got 6 hours left. 6 hours, that's still quite a lot to listen to in 11 hours. But I think I'm going to try and bump the speed up a little bit and just like stay, because this is my book I'm trying to read like all outside. And I know I just said I was going to let go of my reading goals, but going out for a run and then staying out and walking until this book is done is good for my health as well, so it counts as productive. So I'm going to try and do that. We'll see if I get annoyed with that idea. Anyway, let's hope today goes better than yesterday. So it's Friday afternoon, and to be honest, I kind of forgot about this vlog. I was all excited about the project I'm doing for my next TBR as part of the BookTube Creatives group. So I'm quite excited about that. You'll see a video for that next week. Reading wise, I read the next one in this, as I always do, although I won't tonight. I didn't pay attention to what it was called. Daughter of the Sun. I think it's about the sun guy and this sun girl and this moon guy, and their names were very similar, and I was very confused through the whole story about what was even happening, and so obviously not really the story for me. For The Girl in the Tower, I'm now up to about 144, so I have made progress, but it's pretty slow going. There have been some good bits, but there's a lot of words for not really much happening, or at least not much that I care about. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. The other thing is, yesterday when I went on my run and then I went on a very long walk while I finished reading 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do, I actually really loved that book, and I came back feeling really inspired and like motivated to do stuff, which is probably why I've been doing stuff instead of vlogging and reading, even though reading counts as doing stuff. But I was excited about doing some other things. But for right now, I'm about to head off to my boyfriend's place, and I probably won't be back till tomorrow, and during that time I probably won't do any reading, although I will take The Girl in the Tower with me in case I manage to read a page or two, but I'll probably be distracted. And then we'll pretty much be up to the end of the readathon. I think I've done okay so far, but I guess we'll check back for the end of the readathon and decide what we're going to do with that last day. Good morning! It is the last day of Borrowathon. I did actually make it home last night, but all I wanted to do was just read a chapter of 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, and then I fell asleep, so I didn't catch up with you guys. I did read, what was the one? Every time I don't look it up. So the story I read last night was The Crimson Cloak. I actually quite liked it. It's telling basically a fairy tale that's normally told from humans' perspectives, from like this fairy goddess perspective. It was quite cool. I liked it. Quite short though. That's the problem with short stories. They're always too short. So I've only got one more to read, which I guess I'll read later tonight. Right now I am going to go for a run, but when I come back I'm going to try and blast out a bunch of A Girl in the Tower. I'm somehow about halfway through. I only managed to read about a chapter, I think, while I was at the boyfriend's house, and yesterday we did actually go to the beach, which was really nice. Like, it was just so beautiful, and we went adventuring. It was a great day. The weather was behaving. It looks like it's behaving again today, although you probably can't tell from this lighting. But yesterday was a lovely day, but not a day for reading. Definitely a day for enjoying the weather. So when I get back, I'm going to try and read some of this. This afternoon I am going to my brother's house. I'm going to return the manga that I borrowed from him and pick up some new ones, as well as my replacement birthday present, because what actually happened for my birthday is he accidentally bought the same thing for me that my mum and my sister bought for me, and so he's returned his and got me a new replacement present, which I'm excited for, and that'll be cool. So anyway, right now running, and then I will try to see if I can finish some stuff up for Borrowathon so that we can like feel like we have a satisfying ending to this readathon. So I thought I'd better do a quick update. It's about midday. I'm about to go to my brother's to switch out these 3 manga for more manga. Probably I'm going to try and pick up a bunch of Death Note from him. Did I say that already? Probably. I did also manage to read a little bit of The Girl in the Tower, but it is slow going. I'm up to 236. I think I said I was halfway before. I mean, I look like I'm more than halfway. A little bit more, I think. There have been some really good bits, but this story has not gone in the direction that I thought it would at all. So that's disappointing. And I don't think I'm really liking it for the most part. There are some good bits, but most of it is just a lot of talking and not actually much happening, and not enough magic, as I keep saying. Also, there was one other thing I was going to update you on. So I forgot earlier to mention about The Devouring Grey, which I've been listening to on audiobook. I did listen to some when I was driving to my boyfriend's place on Friday, and then when I was driving back on Saturday, and then when I was in the supermarket on Saturday. So I have listened to quite a lot. I actually don't know where I've left my phone right at this moment, so I can't tell you where I'm up to. I think I've got about 5 hours left. I am quite enjoying it, although the problem is that I really don't like the narrator, and so I'm having to like forcibly make myself look or listen past the fact that she doesn't say things the way that I think they would be said at all. Like, I just stopped listening to her because her voice, I find it quite boring and harsh, and I don't think that's what the story is actually like. So the narrator's putting me off a bit, but
I don't have time to try and source the physical book because I want to read it this month for the Bookemon Badgeathon. So I'm trying to finish it regardless. I do quite like where the story is going. I'm going to be especially annoyed if what I hope is going to happen for the girl with blue hair doesn't happen. But I'll try and listen to some more of that. So my goals, I guess, for the rest of the day is to try and listen to the rest of that. I'm listening to it on 1.5 speed, so I guess I need about another 3 hours. I don't know where I'm going to find those 3 hours to listen to an audiobook, but maybe while I do some other stuff I could listen to an audiobook. And this one, I've got, I don't know how many more pages, probably still like 200 pages. Oh, that's not true, like 150 pages. That would probably still take me like 3 hours as well, so that's like 6 hours. So if I did nothing but that from now, it would be like 8 o'clock. That's not realistic. Anyway, that's my goals. I'm also going to try and finish 1,000 beginnings and endings, but that's one short story, so I'll do that right at the end so I can get a little bit of success right at the end. Once I come back from my brother's, I will show you guys what books I get. Hey, so it is 6 o'clock. I just got back from my brother's and had some dinner, did a little bit of reading. Very quickly, I returned the manga that I had borrowed and replaced it with the next 3 books in Death Note, which I'm excited to read. I also got my birthday present. Michael got me Lost Odyssey. So it's Michael said it's quite similar. Michael's my brother. He said it's quite similar to Final Fantasy. So I love Final Fantasy, so I'm quite excited to play this. I have no idea when I'm going to find time for this. Honestly, I want to find more time for playing games and making music and watching all the TV shows I want to watch, and I still want to read everything, and I want to be productive and like do some writing and do some like career stuff. Who has the time for all the things there are to do? And get fit and go and like have fun and like be a friend and anyway, before I get overwhelmed with all the things that I have to do, just tonight, small steps is the trick whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. Just focus on small steps. So tonight, I want to finish The Girl in the Tower. I think I've just got about 60 or 70 pages left, so it really shouldn't take me too long. And then also for The Devouring Grey, I listened to some more driving to my brother's place, and I've got about 4 hours left. So that means I can probably listen to it in about 2.5 hours. I feel like I just left my camera to do the focusing thing itself, and I think it's doing a bad job. But anyway, I think so, probably just a few, probably up until bedtime, finishing those off, and then after that I'll finish off 1,000 beginnings and endings, and then I guess maybe tomorrow morning I'll check in with you for an update, but maybe I'll check in again tonight. I don't know. I don't know how life works. Hey, so it is 11 p.m. on Sunday, which is the last day of the readathon, and I'm assuming the readathon finishes at midnight, so I've got like an hour left to finish up, but I have finished reading The Girl in the Tower. To be honest, there was quite a lot of action at the end, so it did get more exciting, but I'm probably going to give it 3 stars because it was like okay, but not my favorite. I would have liked it to be quite different, and I am constantly frustrated by the things that happen to Vassia. So that's that. I also finished The Devouring Grey. I really liked it, but again, what put me off this one is the narrator was just so annoying. So I really got into the story, and so I think I'm going to give it 4 stars, but I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if the narrator had been different, so I might at some point read it in physical form. Of course I say that, but do I have time for rereading books? Not really. There's too many other exciting books out there that I want to read, so rereading books always ends up getting deprioritized. There's just too many things to do in life. Anyway, I just need to read the one last story from this, so I'm going to read that and then probably go to sleep. And then I will check in with you in the morning and just do a quick wrap up. For you, it will seem like seconds. Ready? Hey, so it is Monday and the Borrowathon is done. At least for me, I can tell by Twitter that it's still going for some of those time zones in the past. But I wanted to do a quick wrap up of the books that I read. I did last night finish the last story in 1,000 Beginnings and Endings. I quite liked it. It was about Kitsune by Julie Kikugawa. It was quite a short little story, but I thought it was quite nice. So I find it really hard to rate anthologies. I think I gave this a 3 in the end because while there were some I quite liked, there were none I loved with a passion, and there were some that I didn't really like. So overall, I think it just balances out to a 3. I feel like most anthologies get 3 from me. So overall though, this is a pile of the books that I read. I've just put in these other manga to represent the ones that I have already returned to my brother. So that's a pretty decent pile, although this one doesn't really count for Borrowathon because it's not a borrowed book. It's a book that I own. So still, this many books, I think I counted it up. No, I didn't count it up. But I think it's like 1,000 pages. So 1,000-ish pages based on very quick rough maths. So I'm pretty happy. Girl in Shower wasn't what I expected, but it was still alright. Everyone's an alien when you're an alien too. Was beautiful. I highly recommend reading that. 1,000 Beginning and Endings. As I said, some stories good, some not so good. But I think it is good just for the different Asian cultures that are represented and learning a bit about different mythology rather than the mythology that you hear about all the time. So that was good. These 3 manga that aren't these 3 manga. Death Note I loved, hence why I've got the next 3 in the series to read. One Punch Man, I'm not so sure that's my thing. My love story was beautiful and hilarious. So, and also this, not quite as funny as it thinks it is, but still some funny bits and some good nostalgia feels. That was a very quick wrap up. Oh wait, the audiobooks. What else did I read? Rebecca, I think I only read about half of that during the Borrowathon, but all of the audiobooks I listened to are library books, so they count for Borrowathon. So Rebecca was really spooky. I really enjoyed it, even though some of the characters frustrated me. The Devouring Grey, hated the narrator for the audiobook, but I quite enjoyed the story, and I'm definitely going to be continuing on with the series because I'm sure from what happened at the end that it's a series. And then the last one is 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do, which I found really inspiring and also had quite concrete steps about how to be more mentally strong, as well as reinforcing some of the things I'm already doing, which was good. I can see maybe not the best book for everyone, but I liked it. What else? I was just going to talk briefly about the challenges. There's 6 challenges, so I think even though I read one, I'd already read half of 1,000 Beginning and Endings at the start of the readathon, so that only half counts. But I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I read 8.5 books during the readathon, including audiobooks, but I don't think I met all 6 challenges. So read a book featuring one of your bucket list items. I mean, one bucket list item would be to be mentally strong, so we could count that one. A book you're in the mood for, I counted Death Note for. Read a book completely outside of your home. Oh no, that was the one. I used 13. Can you double things up? Probably. So I could say that's 13 things mentally strong people don't do. A book in a non-traditional format was Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too. A book set during your favorite time of year. For starters, I don't really have a favorite time. All times of the year have great things about them. And none of these books really featured seasons, so I think that's the one I'm going to have missed. Because in the last one, read a book that features a library, I was going to count Rebecca because there was a library in Rebecca. Anyway, my camera is about to die, so I guess that's my wrap up. If you did Borrowathon, man, I'm so bad at talking. If you did Borrowathon, I would love to hear what you read and how it went for you, or if you've read any of the books that I read during Borrowathon, of course I would love to talk to you about them. Otherwise,